The Galactic Union's central hall was brighter than any human had ever seen. The ceiling glowed like a field of tiny stars, and 1,000 alien voices whispered through the vast chamber. Every sound seemed to hum with power, and every being looked down at the group of humans standing near the center. It was supposed to be a celebration, the day humanity officially joined the Galactic Union. But to the humans, the smiles around them didn't look friendly. They looked amused. Commander Elias Vance, standing tall in his dark Navy uniform, could feel the quiet mockery in the air. His second-in-command, Lieutenant Sarah Holt, noticed it too. Her eyes followed the alien diplomats, tall, colorful, and graceful, who seemed to whisper behind their hands whenever they looked at the humans. At the front of the chamber, a blue-skinned alien named Counselor Threx, leader of the Technar Dominion, raised his hands. His voice echoed across the room. "Humans of Earth," Threx said, smiling in a way that didn't reach his eyes. "We welcome your species into our grand union, and as a token of our friendship, we gift you one of our retired warships, the Resolute. She has served us well for many centuries. We hope it inspires you to greatness." Polite applause filled the air, but Elias could feel the laughter hiding behind it. He forced a smile, nodding respectfully, but inside he already knew what this gift really meant. A decommissioned warship, old, broken, unusable, a piece of junk. He had read the reports. The Resolute was a Class 4 battlecruiser, once proud and mighty, now nothing more than floating scrap. The ship had been deactivated for nearly 300 years. Its engines were non-functional, its AI core corrupted, and its armor plates torn apart by time. It wasn't a gift. It was an insult dressed in ceremony. Still, Elias bowed slightly. "The people of Earth thank you for this honor," he said calmly, his voice steady. "We'll take good care of her." Counselor Threx's smile widened. "I'm sure you will, Commander," he said softly, and several alien diplomats chuckled under their breath. When the humans returned to their ship, the ISS Horizon, orbiting above the Union's central world, the crew was quiet. Sarah broke the silence first. "They think we're a joke," she said bitterly. "They gave us a pile of metal and expected us to clap like children." Elias stood at the window, looking at the distant stars. "Maybe," he said, "but every piece of metal has a story, and every story can be rewritten." A few days later, the Resolute arrived in Earth orbit. The sight made even the most hopeful engineers shake their heads. The ship looked dead. Its once golden hull was now dull gray, covered in cracks and scars. Whole sections of the ship were missing, replaced by open skeleton frames. Its engines flickered weakly, and its once bright energy core was nothing but a silent black sphere. The Galactic Union officials who accompanied the transport ship didn't even try to hide their smirks. One of them, a small insectoid alien named Relka, said cheerfully, "Good luck, Commander. It will make a fine museum piece." Elias didn't answer. He just stared at the ship floating before him, silent, broken, forgotten, and he felt something stir inside his chest. Not anger, not despair, something older, deeper, something human, challenge accepted. For the next week, work began in the orbital docks above Earth. Teams from Earth, Mars, and the lunar colonies came together. Engineers, coders, mechanics, and pilots, hundreds of them. The aliens said the ship was beyond saving, but humans had never been good at accepting impossible. Inside the ship, the air was cold and heavy. Elias and his team walked through long, dark corridors filled with floating dust. The lights flickered, and the smell of burnt metal filled the air. "Looks like a graveyard," Sarah said quietly. Elias touched one of the cracked walls. "Then let's bring it back to life," he said. The ship's nameplate, Resolute, was still barely visible, half rusted, half faded. Below it were alien symbols that had long lost their meaning. Elias ran his hand over the letters. "You've been through a lot," he whispered. "But you're not done yet." Project Resolute officially began. At first, it looked hopeless. The alien technology was far more advanced than anything humans had ever seen. The wiring systems used living circuits that pulsed faintly when touched. The AI core, a huge sphere buried in the center of the ship, was corrupted beyond repair. Its data scrambled, its logic lost. But humans had always been creative. They didn't always build the best machines, but they built machines that worked. Engineer Dr. Malik Torres, leader of the technical division, stood before a group of workers. "Listen up," he said. "Forget perfection. We're not rebuilding it their way. We're making it ours." They started replacing parts with human equivalents. Damaged plasma conduits were swapped with repurposed mining lasers. Control circuits were rewired using copper and titanium. They patched holes with recycled shuttle plates. Every part came from something else, from Earth freighters, old Martian fighters, even moon-based drones. To the aliens, it was madness. To the humans, it was art. 2 weeks later, the first power test took place. "Main reactor coming online," Malik said, his voice nervous. Sparks flew as the reactor chamber hummed. Warning lights blinked across the bridge. The air smelled of ozone and burning dust. Sarah gripped her chair. "Please don't explode." The engines groaned, metal grinding against metal. For a moment, the ship trembled like it was about to fall apart. Then, a deep hum filled the air. The lights turned on. The walls began to glow with a soft blue shimmer. The systems flickered alive one by one. The Resolute's heart was beating again. A cheer erupted across the communication lines. Engineers clapped, pilots shouted, and someone started singing the old Earth anthem over the intercom. Elias simply stood there, eyes wide, feeling the vibration beneath his feet. "She's alive," he whispered. Word spread quickly through the orbital docks. The humans were fixing the impossible ship. Alien visitors came just to watch. Some laughed, some were curious. But a few, just a few, began to look nervous. A Threxian engineer, a relative of Counselor Threx, spoke with Sarah one day while touring the ship. "You humans are wasting your time," the alien said, shaking his head. "Our ships are built from living alloys. You replace them with scrap metal. It will never last." Sarah smiled. "Maybe not, but it'll work. And that's all that matters." Weeks turned into months. The ship changed completely. The once dead hull now gleamed with new armor, black, layered, and thick. And the engines roared to life with a new hybrid core built from alien tech and human fusion systems. Deep inside, a new AI was being created. Not the perfect machine intelligence of the Union, but something smaller, faster, and more intuitive. It was designed by Nova Jane, a young programmer from Luna. She was only 20, but her code was famous in the cyber defense divisions. Her AI spoke its first words after 72 hours of calibration. "Hello," it said, its voice soft and curious. "Who brought me back?" Elias smiled at the glowing blue sphere on the control deck. "We did," he said. "Welcome aboard the Resolute." By the end of the 3rd month, the ship was unrecognizable. It wasn't clean or elegant like the alien cruisers. It was rough, patched, and loud. But it was human. Every wire, every bolt, every circuit told a story of determination and creativity. The aliens had given humanity a joke, a symbol of pity, but the humans were turning it into something no one had expected. One night, as the ship floated silently above Earth, Elias stood at the bridge's viewport. Below, the blue planet glowed peacefully. Behind him, the ship's systems hummed like a heartbeat. Sarah joined him. "Think they'll ever respect us?" she asked quietly. Elias looked at the stars. "Respect isn't given," he said. "It's earned. And this ship is how we'll earn it." He placed his hand on the console. The metal felt warm, alive. "Let them laugh," he said softly. "They won't be laughing for long." Outside, the ship's new engines flickered faintly, a sign of the power building within. The Resolute was almost ready, and soon the galaxy would see what humans could do with a pile of scrap. The Resolute floated in orbit above Earth, surrounded by smaller workships and drones that glowed like fireflies against the dark sky. It was no longer the silent wreck it once was. Power lines ran across its hull. Engines flickered to life and new armor plates reflected sunlight over the blue planet below. For the humans working on it, the ship had become more than a project. It was a symbol. It was proof that humanity could take anything, even a pile of broken alien scrap, and turn it into something extraordinary. Commander Elias Vance walked along the main deck as engineers moved past him, carrying tools, wires, and data pads. Every corridor was alive with sound, hammering, humming, laughter, and sometimes small arguments about design choices. He stopped beside Dr. Malik Torres, who was checking a holographic diagram of the ship's new reactor. "How's it holding?" Elias asked. Malik scratched his beard, frowning. "Barely," he said honestly. "But that's better than nothing. The alien reactor wasn't built for our modifications. We had to redesign half of it just to keep it from overloading." "Will it fly?" Malik looked at him and smiled faintly. "It'll fly, Commander. Just don't ask for smooth." Elias laughed softly. "Smooth is for the rich," he said. "We're humans. We make things that work, not things that shine." While the engineers worked on the engines, Nova Jane sat inside the AI core chamber. It was a small, dark room at the heart of the ship, filled with cables and glowing panels. The new AI, which she had named Athena, flickered in the center as a soft blue sphere of light. Nova tapped her tablet. "Athena, run diagnostic on memory layer 4. "Running," the AI said in a calm, clear voice. "Error detected in logic matrix. Attempting correction." "Good girl," Nova whispered. "You call me girl," Athena said after a pause. "Am I a person?" Nova smiled gently. "You're more than code, Athena. You're a part of this ship, a part of us." There was silence, then a soft hum. "Then I will not fail," Athena said. Nova looked up, her heart swelling with pride. Humanity had built AIs before, but never like this. The aliens used cold, emotionless machine minds, perfect but distant. Humans made things with feeling. Athena wasn't just a program. She was born from human intuition, mistakes, and care. Meanwhile, the ship's hull was being rebuilt piece by piece. Lieutenant Sarah Holt supervised the outer repair crews. Wearing a gray exosuit, she moved along the outer layer of the ship as drones welded metal plates into place. Each new piece came from somewhere different. Recycled mining steel from Mars, titanium alloy from old war satellites, and lightweight plating from moon transports. It was messy work, but Sarah didn't mind. She loved it. Every sound of metal meeting metal reminded her of home, of humanity's old factories and shipyards. The smell of burnt metal, the sparks flying across her helmet, all of it made her feel alive. Over the radio, one of the workers laughed. "Ma'am, we're short on screws again." "Use what we have," Sarah replied, "but the size—" "Improvise," she said. If it fits, it works. That became their rule. If it fits, it works. Aliens visiting the docks often looked at the ship in disbelief. To them, the Resolute looked chaotic. Mismatched parts, strange designs, wires sticking out where no wire should be. But to humans, it was beauty born from survival. Weeks passed. Every day, something new came to life aboard the ship. The communication room was rebuilt using human transceivers mixed with alien energy nodes. The weapons bay, once empty, now held hybrid cannons powered by human fusion cells. Even the navigation system, something no human had ever fully understood, was repaired by Athena herself. "Commander," Athena's voice echoed one morning through the bridge. "I have stabilized the navigation matrix. The ship can perform short-distance jumps now." Elias raised an eyebrow. "You repaired it on your own?" "I learned from your engineers," she said simply. "They make mistakes, but sometimes mistakes create new paths." Malik, standing beside Elias, chuckled. "She's learning too well." The first real test came a few days later. "Let's see if this ship can move," Elias said, sitting in the command chair for the first time. The seat creaked under him. The bridge smelled of oil and solder, but it was his, human-made, human reborn. Sarah took her place beside him. Malik stood near the engineering console. Nova monitored Athena's core through her tablet. "All systems ready," Athena reported. "Engines charged. Stabilizers online. Reactor output at 76%. "Good enough," Elias said. "Let's wake her up." "Engines on my mark." He looked at the crew. Everyone was silent, waiting. He smiled. 3, 2, 1, go. At first, nothing happened. Then a low rumble filled the deck. The ship trembled as the engines came alive. pushing against years of rust and dust. The vibration grew stronger until the entire bridge shook. Reactor temperature rising. Malik shouted. Core is unstable. Hold it steady, Elias ordered. Athena's voice was calm. Stabilizing power flow. Done. A deep hum filled the air, steady and powerful. Outside, the ship's massive thrusters glowed blue for the first time in centuries. Sarah's eyes widened. It's moving. The Resolute drifted forward, slow but steady. The stars shifted outside the window as the ship began its first flight under human hands. A cheer erupted across every deck. Engineers hugged, pilots shouted over the radio, and even Malik laughed out loud. Elias sat back in his chair watching the stars slide past. She flies, he whispered. After all this time, she flies. The test continued for hours. They ran engine diagnostics, energy calibrations, and balance checks. There were problems, hundreds of them, but each one was fixed by hand, by heart, and by hope. By the end of the day, the ship returned to orbit with only minor damage. To any alien, that would be considered a failure. To humans, it was victory. That evening, the crew gathered in the ship's mess hall. It was small, built from salvaged modules with low lights and metal benches, but it was full of warmth and laughter. Nova stood on one of the tables, raising a mug of recycled water. To the engineers of the impossible, she shouted. The room erupted in cheers. Sarah laughed. To duct tape and hope. To stubbornness, Malik added. Elias smiled, lifting his own mug. To humanity, he said, and to the Resolute. May she never give up like us. They clinked mugs together, and for a moment the room was filled with pure joy. Later, when most of the crew had gone to rest, Elias remained on the bridge. The stars stretched endlessly before him. He placed his hand on the console, feeling the soft vibration beneath the metal. Athena, he said quietly. Do you understand why we rebuilt you? Yes, the AI replied. Because you were challenged. Because they laughed. Do you think they were wrong? I think they underestimated you, Athena said. They saw weakness where there was creativity. They saw limits where there was courage. Elias smiled faintly. That's a good answer. I learned from humans, Athena said. You fix broken things, and when you cannot fix them, you make them better. He looked out the window at the distant stars. One day, he whispered, they'll see what we've done here, and they'll remember this ship. The next morning, a message arrived from the Galactic Union. Counselor Threx's voice echoed through the communication system. Commander Vance, we've heard about your efforts with the Resolute. Impressive, though unnecessary. That ship is an old relic. You could request a modern vessel instead. Elias leaned forward. We don't need a modern vessel, Counselor. We make our own. Threx's expression tightened. Be careful, human. Pride can be dangerous. Elias smiled slightly. So can underestimation. The transmission ended. Sarah looked at him. You think they're watching us? Oh, they're watching, he said. And I want them to. Because one day soon, this ship is going to do something none of theirs can. As the ship floated above Earth, the sun began to rise. Golden light spread across the hull, revealing the mixture of human and alien designs, imperfect but powerful. Athena's voice echoed softly through the bridge. Commander, shall I log today's progress? Do it, Elias said. And make a note. A note? He looked at the glowing blue light on the console. Write this. They gave us scrap, and we turned it into strength. The AI paused for a second, then replied, logged and understood. Outside, the Resolute drifted toward the dawn, its engines glowing brighter than ever before. The galaxy still thought of humanity as the weakest species. Small, messy, unpredictable. But soon, they would learn the truth. Humans didn't need perfect tools. They made perfection out of broken ones. The stars around Earth looked calm, almost peaceful. But deep inside the orbital dock, the Resolute was alive with noise. Technicians shouted over comms, engineers checked systems, and the ship's engines hummed with growing power. It had been 6 months since humanity had received the old wreck from the Galactic Union. 6 months of sleepless nights, broken machinery, and endless repairs. Now at last the ship was ready for her first real test, a space trial beyond the solar orbit. Commander Elias Vance stood on the bridge, watching the screens light up one by one. The ship felt different now. It no longer creaked like a dying vessel. It breathed. The hum of the engines was like a heartbeat, Lieutenant Sarah Holt walked in, adjusting her gloves. "The last report from engineering just came in," she said. "All systems green. We're ready when you are." Elias nodded. "And the crew?" "Excited," Sarah said with a smile. "Terrified, too. But that's normal for us." He chuckled softly. "Good, fear means we're awake." The control deck was small and crowded. It wasn't like the grand alien ships with wide halls and glowing walls. The human bridge was compact, practical, and full of switches, screens, and hand-built controls. Dr. Malik Torres was at the engineering station, monitoring the reactor core. The AI Athena's blue light shimmered gently across the bridge. Elias looked up at the screen showing Earth below. For a moment he felt a wave of pride. "Let's make history," he said quietly. "Athena, prepare for launch." "Acknowledged," Athena replied in her calm, human-like voice. "Reactor stable. Power levels optimal. All systems aligned. Awaiting your command, Commander." Elias took a deep breath. "Engage engines. Let's take the Resolute out." The ship shuddered as its thrusters came to life. Slowly, the massive cruiser began to move away from the orbital dock. Outside, hundreds of small ships hovered nearby, human and alien, watching with curiosity and doubt. "Steady. Steady," Malik muttered. His fingers flew across the control panel. The engines roared, sending a low vibration through the ship. The view of Earth began to shrink as they moved farther away. The stars grew sharper and brighter. Sarah grinned. "She's moving like she was born yesterday." Elias nodded. "She's not just moving. She's alive." After several hours of flight through near space, they reached the edge of the testing range, a vast zone clear of satellites and debris. Here, the ship would face its greatest challenge yet, a hyperspace jump. Humanity had never successfully performed a jump using alien drives. Every previous test had ended in failure, lost ships, burned circuits, and melted reactors. But Athena had been running thousands of simulations. If they were right, the Resolute would be the first human-operated ship to travel through folded space. Elias turned toward Malik. "Status?" "Reactor stable," Malik replied. "Energy buildup at 70%. We're charging the jump drive." Sarah checked the readings. "Navigation ready. Coordinates set." Athena spoke softly. "Commander, all systems are green. Would you like me to begin jump sequence?" Elias looked around the bridge, his crew waiting, eyes full of hope and fear. He smiled slightly. "Do it." The lights dimmed. A low hum filled the air. The stars outside seemed to blur as space itself began to twist. "Energy at 90%, Malik said. "Stabilizers holding." "Hold her steady," Elias said calmly. Athena's voice remained steady. "Preparing to engage FTL in 3, 2, 1. There was a flash, blinding white light, and then silence. The stars vanished. For a heartbeat, everyone thought they had failed. The ship felt weightless, soundless, lost in endless darkness. Then, slowly, light returned. The stars reappeared, but different, brighter, closer together. The computer readouts began to flash. Sarah gasped. We jumped!" Malik looked at the numbers, stunned. "Coordinates confirmed. We're 5 light years from the starting point." "Everything's stable." For a long moment, no one spoke. Then the bridge exploded with cheers. Nova's voice came over the comm from the AI room. "It worked. We did it. The jump worked." Elias sat back in his chair, smiling wider than he ever had before. "Athena," he said, his voice calm but trembling with emotion. "Status report." "All systems normal," Athena replied. "Structural integrity at 98%. Reactor stable. No critical failures," Elias laughed softly. "Then congratulations, crew. Humanity just took its first step across the stars." News of the success spread quickly. The Galactic Union heard about it within hours. Their scientists refused to believe it. A human crew, using a scrap ship, had done something their finest engineers had warned was impossible. Messages of disbelief flooded the Union channels. How did they stabilize a corrupted drive core? They don't have the technology for that. It must be luck or a trick. But deep down, some of them began to worry. If humans could fix what others threw away, what else could they do? The Resolute continued its journey through deep space, testing weapons, shields, and systems. Every day brought new challenges. The human-built circuit sometimes failed, the AI sometimes argued, and the crew sometimes disagreed. But they always found a way. Once, when a coolant pipe burst and smoke filled the engineering deck, Malik and his team fixed it with nothing more than tape and a broken drone part. When an alien circuit refused to connect with human wiring, Nova rewrote its logic code by hand, something no Union AI had ever done. They didn't just survive problems. They learned from them. Sarah often said, "We don't build perfect things. We build things that don't quit." 3 weeks into their trial, the Resolute approached a derelict asteroid field, the remains of an ancient battle long before humans reached the stars. Old ship parts floated in silence, glittering in the dim light. Elias decided to test the ship's agility. "Athena, prepare a maneuvering course through the debris field." "Confirmed," Athena said, plotting safe route. "Warning, debris density exceeds safety limit." "That's fine," Elias said. "Let's see how far we can push her." The engines roared as the ship dove into the field. Massive chunks of metal drifted past like ghosts. The ship weaved between them, its thrusters firing in short bursts. Sarah watched the sensors. "She's handling better than expected." "Keep her steady," Elias said. Athena's calm voice filled the room. "Adjusting flight path by 3 degrees. Obstacle ahead, evasive maneuver." The ship twisted sharply. Metal scraped the side, and a low groan echoed through the hull, but it kept moving. Then, as the last piece of wreckage passed, the view cleared. They had made it through. The crew clapped and cheered again. Elias looked at the screen and whispered, "Beautiful." Far away, at a Galactic Union observation post, alien commanders watched the entire thing through long-range sensors. One of them, a gray-skinned scientist named Renth Cal, shook his head. "This cannot be," he muttered. "The ship was worthless." "How are they doing this?" Another, an insectoid diplomat, replied, "They changed it. They used their own methods. They rebuilt it their way." Renth Cal frowned. "Rebuilt? You mean they improvised? That's not engineering, that's chaos." The insectoid tilted his head. "Perhaps chaos is what makes them strong." The room fell silent. None of them wanted to admit it, but the truth was clear. The humans had done something incredible. Back aboard the Resolute, the crew celebrated quietly. Elias sat in his chair looking out at the stars. Sarah leaned against the console beside him. "Think the Union will admit what we did?" she asked. Elias smiled faintly. "No, they'll try to explain it away. Say it was luck or a mistake." "Let them," she said. "We know the truth," Elias nodded. "Yes, we took their scrap. We made it better. We made it ours." Athena's voice joined them softly. "Commander, may I say something?" "Go ahead," he said. "I have accessed Union records. They once called this ship obsolete. Broken beyond repair." Her tone seemed almost proud. "They were wrong." Elias smiled. "Yes, Athena, they were." As the ship turned toward home, the stars seemed brighter. Humanity had proven something that day, not just to the galaxy, but to themselves. They didn't need to be the strongest or the smartest. They only needed courage, patience, and the will to keep trying. The aliens gave them scrap, expecting them to fail. Instead, they built a ship that broke every limit the galaxy had known. And though none of them said it aloud, everyone aboard the Resolute felt the same thought burning quietly in their hearts. This is only the beginning. The calm of deep space was broken by an urgent alarm. Commander Elias Vance jumped from his chair on the bridge of the Resolute, eyes wide as red warning lights flashed across the control panels. "Report," he barked. Lieutenant Sarah Holt leaned over the sensor console. "Multiple contacts approaching," she said, her voice steady but tense. "Pirates. Outer Fringe raiders. They're attacking Union trade convoys in this sector." Malik Torres' fingers flew over the engineering console. "They're armed and fast. And there's a lot of them." Elias clenched his jaw. "Where's the nearest Union fleet?" "Too far," Sarah said. "By the time they arrive, the convoys will be destroyed." Elias looked at his crew. They had trained for months testing, fixing, and improving the Resolute. They had proven themselves in trials, but this real combat was something else. He took a deep breath. "Then it's up to us. Athena, plot the fastest course to intercept the pirates." "Yes, Commander," Athena replied, calculating trajectory. "Estimated arrival in 22 minutes. Weapons are calibrated. All defensive systems ready." "Good," Elias said. "Engage." The Resolute jumped into hyperspace, stars stretching into long streaks as the ancient ship glided faster than anything the pirates expected. The crew was tense but silent, knowing every second mattered. The Outer Fringe raiders were notorious. fast, clever, and brutal. They had never faced a ship like the Resolute. As the ship emerged from folded space, the pirates were already there. The convoy ships were under fire, hulls burning, cargo exploding. The humans' eyes narrowed. "Target their command ship first," Elias ordered. "Take out the leader and the rest will scatter." Athena's voice was calm. "Calculating attack vector. Evasive maneuvers recommended." Sarah grinned. "I like a challenge." The battle began. The Resolute moved like a shadow, weaving between debris and fire. Its weapons, a mix of human fusion cannons and patched-together alien tech, flared blue-white as they struck the pirate ships. The pirates fired back, their lasers ripping through space. But the Resolute's shields, reinforced with human ingenuity, held firm. "Shields holding at 75%, Malik reported. "Hull integrity nominal." Elias leaned forward. "Keep it steady. Let's show them what humans can do." The first strike was decisive. Nova, sitting at the AI console, monitored the targeting systems. "Command ship locked," she said. "Firing in 3, 2, 1. A volley of energy cannons lit up the dark void, hitting the pirate leader's vessel directly. Explosions rippled across its hull. The command ship shuddered, then spun out of control. The smaller pirate ships hesitated, unsure what to do next. The humans had taken out their leader, something no one in the outer fringe had ever managed. "Now," Elias shouted. "Target their flank. Fire on my mark." The Resolute twisted through space, engines flaring, firing again and again. Each shot was precise, every move calculated. The ship felt alive, more than a machine, almost as if it knew instinctively how to win. For hours the battle raged. The pirates were fast and cunning, but the humans were smarter, faster, and more unpredictable. Sarah's voice rang out over the comms. "Engaging evasive maneuvers. Hull taking minor hits but nothing critical." Malik laughed. "Minor hits? You mean sparks? This ship can take anything we throw at it, or they throw at us." Even Athena seemed excited, her calm voice tinged with pride. "Weapons are synchronized. Shields at full capacity. Crew efficiency optimal." The pirates' formation began to break. Some tried to flee. Others attempted desperate attacks. But the Resolute was always 2 steps ahead, dodging, weaving, striking, and disappearing before the pirates could react. Hours passed, but the humans did not tire. Elias watched the sensors, eyes sharp. "Don't underestimate them," he said. "They'll regroup." Sure enough, the pirate ships tried a final coordinated strike. 10 of their fastest fighters charged at the Resolute from different angles. "Multiple targets incoming," Sarah shouted. "They're fast, too fast for standard targeting." Elias smirked. "That's fine. Humans improvise." Athena's voice rose clear and confident. "Commander, initiating adaptive targeting. I will predict their flight patterns." "Do it," Elias said. The ship twisted through space like a living thing. Athena calculated every angle, predicting where the enemy would move before they even acted. The human crew responded instinctively, adjusting shields, firing weapons, and dodging debris. One by one, the pirate fighters were destroyed or forced to retreat. The convoy ships were saved. When the battle ended, silence fell across the bridge. Outside, the stars were calm again. Smoke from the last pirate ship drifted across space. Sarah exhaled. "We did it," she said, voice soft with disbelief. Malik shook his head. "I still can't believe it." "We actually did it," Nova looked at Athena, who glowed softly. "We did it together," she said. Elias leaned back, chest rising and falling. "They gave us scrap," he said quietly. "They laughed at us. They thought we would fail." Sarah nodded. "But we didn't." "No," Elias said. "We turned it into the most dangerous ship in the galaxy." The message from the Galactic Union arrived hours later. Counselor Threx's voice echoed through the communication system. "Commander Vance, we have received reports of your engagement. It seems your ship has performed beyond expectations." "That was impressive." Elias smiled faintly. "Thank you, Counselor. We only did what needed to be done." Threx's tone hardened. "Do not mistake success for weakness. You are still a new species. Do not test the galaxy too often." Elias chuckled softly. "We didn't test the galaxy, Counselor. The galaxy tested itself." The transmission ended. Later, Elias walked through the corridors of the ship. The crew was tired but proud. Engineers were patching minor damage. Sarah was checking shields and Nova was teaching Athena new maneuvers. He stopped at the viewport, staring at the blackness of space. Stars glittered like diamonds, infinite and distant. Athena's voice came softly, almost human. "Commander, why did you risk the ship? We could have waited for the Union fleet." Elias turned to her. "Because humans don't wait for someone else to save the day. We act, we fight, and we protect what we can. Is that what makes humans strong?" Athena asked. He smiled. "Yes, that and our refusal to quit no matter what they throw at us." The crew gathered in the mess hall that night. They were exhausted but exhilarated. The day had tested them in ways no simulation ever could. Nova raised a mug. "To the Resolute, the ship they said would fail." "To humanity," Sarah added. Malik laughed. "And to duct tape, broken wires, and improvisation." Elias lifted his own mug, quiet but proud. "To everyone who never gave up. Today we proved that humans can take what others throw away and make it stronger than anything they imagined." They clinked their mugs together, the sound echoing through the metal halls. Outside, the Resolute floated silently in the void, a symbol of ingenuity, courage, and determination. That night, as the stars turned outside the viewport, Elias thought about the future. The galaxy had just seen the Resolute in action. It was no longer a scrap ship. It was a legend in the making, and somewhere, deep in the corners of the Galactic Union, the elder races whispered in fear. Because one thing was clear: the humans had made something no one had ever expected. A ship born from scrap, built with ingenuity, commanded by courage, and it was unstoppable. The Resolute drifted silently above a distant star, its hull reflecting the golden light like a black jewel. Below, planets turned slowly, oblivious to the events that had begun to change the galaxy. Above, stars shimmered endlessly, silent witnesses to the legend being born. Commander Elias Vance stood on the bridge, watching the monitors. The ship's systems were stable. Weapons were operational. Shields were reinforced. But more than that, the crew was ready. They had proven themselves in countless tests and practice battles, and finally, in combat against real threats. Now the galaxy was watching, and humanity was no longer just a newcomer. They were a force to be reckoned with. The Galactic Union had been forced to pay attention. Word of the Resolute's victories against the outer fringe raiders spread quickly through communication channels. Scientists, diplomats, and even war councils scrambled to understand what had happened. A meeting was called in the Union's central chamber. Representatives of all major species crowded the room. For the first time, they discussed humanity not as a curiosity, not as a joke, but as equals, dangerous, clever, and unpredictable. Counselor Threx stood at the podium, his blue skin gleaming under the lights. "The humans of Earth have performed an incredible feat," he admitted, voice formal but reluctant. "Their ship, the Resolute, has defended Union trade convoys from threats we could not handle in time. It is impressive." An insectoid diplomat tilted his head. "Impressive does not describe it. The humans have taken a discarded vessel and made it stronger than our most advanced ships." A murmur passed through the assembly. No one had expected such honesty. The humans had forced respect, not with words, but with action. Back aboard the Resolute, the crew prepared for their next mission. Sarah Holt moved along the corridors, checking the crew stations. "All systems green," she reported over comms. "Weapons, shields, engines, sensors. Everything is operational." Dr. Malik Torres was busy in engineering, fine-tuning the reactor. Sparks flew as he patched a minor anomaly in the energy loop. "Almost done," he said, wiping sweat from his brow. "This ship runs like a dream now. I can't believe it." Nova Jane stood beside Athena's core. "She's ready," Nova said. "Athena knows every system, every weapon, every engine. She's the perfect co-pilot." Athena's soft blue light glowed across the bridge. "I am learning continuously. We are ready for any challenge." Elias walked along the bridge, feeling the weight of responsibility but also pride. "Today," he said, "we show the galaxy what humans can do." Their next mission was urgent. A new threat had emerged near the Cora trade route. A fleet of raiders, larger and more organized than any before, was attempting to blockade Union supply lines. Elias studied the coordinates. "The Union fleet is too far," he said. "It's up to us to stop them before they destroy the convoys." Sarah's eyes narrowed. "We can do it, Commander. We've handled worse." Exactly, Elias said. And we'll do it again. Humans don't quit. We adapt, we fight, and we win. Athena's voice was calm. Course plotted. All systems ready. Arrival in 16 minutes, Elias nodded. Engage. The Resolute jumped through folded space, emerging silently behind the Raider fleet. The enemy expected the Union fleet, not a single ship, much less one that moved like a shadow through space. Elias leaned over the controls. Athena, scan for command vessel. Target at first and coordinates identified, Athena replied. Engaging attack vector, Sarah grinned. Let's give them a surprise they'll never forget. The battle began. The Raiders fired, their weapons cutting through the darkness. But the Resolute moved like a phantom, dodging with speed and precision no alien ship could match. The ship's hybrid engines, repaired and enhanced by human ingenuity, gave it agility far beyond its original design. The first volley of human fusion cannons hit the Raider command ship directly, sending shockwaves across its hull. Smaller Raiders scattered, uncertain how to respond. The humans' unpredictability and clever use of patched alien tech made the Resolute almost impossible to hit. Shields at 90%, Malik reported. Hull integrity stable. We can keep this up, Elias smiled faintly. Then let's finish the job. For hours the battle raged across the void. The Resolute twisted and turned, firing, dodging, and protecting the Union convoys. Athena predicted enemy movements. Sarah coordinated evasive maneuvers. And the human crew worked in perfect sync. Even minor issues, a broken conduit here, a sensor glitch there, were fixed instantly by the crew's experience and improvisation. No alien vessel could have adapted so quickly under pressure. Finally, the Raider command ship exploded in a brilliant flash, scattering the remaining vessels. The convoys were safe. Silence followed. For a moment, no one spoke. Then the bridge erupted in cheers. Elias leaned back, eyes bright. We did it, he said. They thought they gave us scrap. But we gave it life. And we gave it victory. News of the battle spread faster than the fastest ships. The Galactic Union sent emissaries to Earth and to the Resolute. They wanted to study the humans, understand their ingenuity, and perhaps, secretly, fear it. Threx's voice came over the comms once more. Commander Vance, your crew has performed admirably. The Resolute is no longer a relic. It is a symbol of human innovation. We underestimated your species, Elias smiled. Underestimation is always dangerous, counselor. But we'll keep proving ourselves. The crew of the Resolute became heroes across the galaxy. Reports from distant planets spoke of the scrap ship that became a legend. Children in Union colonies told stories of the humans who built a ship from discarded metal and turned it into the most dangerous vessel in the galaxy. The aliens who once laughed at humanity now spoke in hushed tones of the humans' unpredictability, courage, and ingenuity, even in Union war academies. Instructors used the Resolute as a case study, not because humans had the best technology, they didn't, but because humans could turn anything into victory. On the Resolute, life returned to routine. Sarah checked the weapon systems. Malik maintained the reactor. Nova improved Athena's algorithms daily, and Elias? He walked the corridors quietly, visiting the crew, speaking words of encouragement and watching the stars. He often paused at the viewport, staring into the void. The galaxy was vast, full of challenges, mysteries, and dangers. But he knew this, humanity was ready. They had learned to take the impossible and make it theirs. They had learned to fight, to survive, and to inspire awe. One evening, as the crew gathered in the mess hall, Nova raised her mug. To the Resolute, the ship they said would fail. To humanity, Sarah added. To courage, creativity, and stubbornness, Malik laughed. Elias lifted his own mug, quiet but full of pride. To everyone who never gave up. To every human who saw a challenge and faced it. The galaxy may have underestimated us, but they won't again. The crew cheered, clinking mugs together. Outside, the stars shone brighter than ever, as if reflecting the human spirit within the Resolute. Days later, a message arrived from a distant Union world. It was a simple statement, but it carried weight. The humans are no longer to be dismissed. Their ingenuity, courage, and determination have reshaped the galaxy's understanding of what is possible. They have turned scrap into legend, and we must respect that. Elias read it aloud to the crew. They finally understand, he said softly. Not because we asked them to. Not because they gave us credit. But because we proved it, Sarah smiled. And they'll remember the Resolute. And humanity. For a long time, Elias nodded. Yes, and let them remember. Because humans don't just survive. We create, we adapt, and we thrive. That is who we are. The Resolute drifted silently in orbit around a distant star, engines glowing softly. It was no longer just a ship. It was a symbol, proof that humans could take what others discarded, what others mocked, and make it stronger than anyone imagined. Every scar on its hull, every patched wire, every human-designed modification was a testament to determination, courage, and creativity. The galaxy had underestimated humanity for centuries, and now they would never do so again. Elias placed his hand on the console, feeling the vibration beneath the metal. Athena's soft blue glow illuminated the bridge. You did well, Athena, he said. We did well, Commander, she replied. Humans taught me how to turn failure into strength, he smiled. That's the truth of our species. You don't need perfection, you just need will and the courage to try. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, silent witnesses to the legend of the Resolute, a ship built from scrap, a crew built from courage, and humans who proved without a doubt that they were the galaxy's most dangerous and most remarkable force.